In the previous video, we talked about how you can start to build better product backlogs through impact analysis and how impact analysis helps you to uncover a lot of the other parts of scope and a lot of the different development items that need to be part of the product backlog, but can sometimes get met. So that's essentially what purpose of impact analysis is. The purpose of feasibility is a little bit different because before you even can get into impact analysis, you need to determine whether what the customer is asking for is even possible given the constraints that your project may be up against. So let's look at an example. Let's say we'll go back into the HR space. And so let's say you are working on a recruitment project. So let's say one of your recruiters asks if it's possible for the system to essentially take a single job posting and create 5 to 10 different versions of it, because there are 5 to 10 different job boards that they need to post to all at the same time, but they want each of the different job postings to be slightly different. Now, as part of their ask, they're saying, hey, I just want to create one job posting and I'm not sure how the system works, but I just want to be able to press a button and have it go out to this job board with this logo and this kind of an image, go out to a different job board with this logo and another type of an image. I think we need about 10 of these, right? Let's just imagine that that's the ask. Now, during that conversation as an analyst, there's a couple of different ways you can handle that, right? As a more junior analyst, typically what you want to do is you want to let your customers know that you're not 100% sure whether that's even possible or not, that you're going to take down some of the details of what they're asking for. You're going to ask a couple of follow-up questions to clarify what they're asking for, and then you're going to run that by the rest of the team to determine whether that's even possible or not, right? And that is essentially what feasibility analysis is. And so as a junior analyst in that conversation, you're essentially just taking down what the customer is asking for. You're asking some clarifying questions. You're taking it past the dev team to see whether that is even possible, right? Now, as an intermediate or senior analyst, you want to get yourself into a position where you're capable of performing what I like to call real-time feasibility assessments. And what that essentially means is that instead of you taking an item down, refining it, taking to the development team, and then coming back with an answer, you're performing all of those activities inside of your mind in real time, and you're providing real-time feedback to your customers as part of a fluid conversation. And so for a senior analyst, the conversation might go slightly different, right? You have a senior analyst who specializes in HR or in recruitment, and the same ask gets made of a senior analyst who has built this capability. And the response of a more senior analyst in a situation like this can go as follows. So you can say to that stakeholder, based on my experience of working with some of the top shelf recruitment systems in the industry, I've never seen a system that has that capability. And for us to be able to build it in a custom way would probably be cost prohibitive. But what I can do is to note it down and get back to you. But I believe that this is something that we're not going to be able to deliver in the way that you've asked for it. If it really is an issue, we could potentially look at some workarounds that could help you to reduce the amount of work that you put into creating your job postings. But the solution, as you've asked for it, may not pan out the way that you've asked for it. So I'll let you know that right now. And you can start to see what that senior analyst is doing is significantly different than what the junior analyst did, right? The senior analyst performed real-time feasibility assessment on the ask. At the moment it was asked, that they provided real-time feedback to the customer so that the conversation that you're having in your workshop is already one step further than it would have been if you hadn't responded in that way, right? If you look at it back, the way the junior analyst was doing is that it is now taking way more time to arrive at the same conclusions than it is taking the senior analyst to do. And that amount of time that you're spending with the stakeholders in the group is time that's very valuable to the organization. It has a huge cost to the organization. You can start to see that building these types of capabilities as a more senior analyst makes you much more valuable to the organization because you're able to arrive at very good conclusions much more quickly than somebody who doesn't have these capabilities. All right. So in this video, I just wanted to introduce the concept of feasibility analysis because, again, it's one of these things that doesn't get the attention that it requires. But if you're somebody who is if you're an analyst with experience who is now trying to elevate your ability and to start to become a much more trusted advisor to your customers, this is one of the things that's going to help you to get yourself elevated. And when you look at these types of analysts from a customer's point of view, you start to realize the real benefit of working with somebody like this, because now they feel like they have somebody that they can go to that can give them fairly solid answers to a lot of the questions that they have, because you have to remember that many of your customers are not from the technical world. They don't understand how software is built. They don't, and really it's not part of their job to know that. And so you start to now become a bit of a sounding board for them to test some of the ideas that they have, so they can get some idea of how they can realign their processes to function properly, right? So we'll leave this video here. I just wanted to introduce this concept, and I'll see you on the next one.
BA Blocks, the building blocks for your BA career.